Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster. All right, welcome back. We're East Coast Adventures with the Dirt and Vert podcast. I'm David.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And we have a very special guest today. Most of you will recognize her name. She's got a huge list of accomplishments attached with this name, too, one of them being Badwater. She's the current record holder. And if you look on ultrarunning.com, she's one of the top 100-mile performances so far of 2024. So, Ashley, if you don't care, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into running.
Hey, I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me today and just hearing a little bit of my stories. I have been running ever since I was a little girl, just kind of followed after my dad. I would see him go out and run every single day. Did not matter the weather. He just thought running cured everything. I mean, as a teenager, if you've got acne, you go for a run. You got boyfriends, go for a run. You know, and so it kind of just stuck with me. And I'd see him go out running these marathons, and I thought he was absolutely crazy. But then I thought it was crazier that I had it like planted that seed in me that I'm like, one day maybe I'll do that. And so I did my first marathon at 19 and fell in love with that distance. And I haven't stopped marathoning ever since. So that kind of just led the way into the running world. I didn't start doing anything really competitively. Until after my fourth baby, I really tried to dial things in a little bit more. Got myself a coach and all that stuff, and just to see what I was capable of, and was able to start into the ultra world in, I think I did my first ultra in 2020, my first 100-mile. Maybe 2021, COVID time. Anyway, that's all I remember. But Ironman before that. So I think that helped get that base as well. Yeah. Building that base into the running, the longer distances. I was doing Ironman and double Ironman, and was able to keep my fitness up by teaching fitness classes as well. Just anything fitness related, sign me up. I want to be a part of it, and I just love the energy, and I hope to run to my grave, to be honest. That's the plan.
I think that's all of our goals.
That's definitely the plan.
Yeah.
So your very first marathon, like, was that something that you trained for, or did you just like jump up and say, okay, I'm going to try this, let's roll with it? Or did you put in a lot of training and like take it seriously?
I was taking it as seriously as I knew how to. I didn't do much research. My sister had ran one the year before, and so I kind of just like, you just run long, right? And that's all I kind of did. I would just kind of like go on the long runs on the weekend, and then shorter runs during the week. I didn't do any type of speed training. I knew nothing about fueling. And so it was decent for my knowledge as a little 19-year-old. And, you know, back in 2000, there wasn't quite as much as we have now, like access to what we have available now, just free plans and all this stuff. I didn't have the money to hire a coach or anything like that. So I just kind of went out winging it with her, and it was nothing like crazy fast. It wasn't anything crazy slow. It was just over a 4-hour marathon. Stayed by her side the whole time. She stayed by my side. We just had a big party, and that's how I wanted definitely my first one to be. So it was as serious as I knew how to.
Well, that's pretty impressive though for your very first marathon. 4 hours, not having any idea for nutrition or anything like that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Did you play any sports? Did you play any sports or anything in high school?
No, I didn't actually. I was a little punk rock girl that I had a skateboard in my hand. That was about it. But I would go run in the morning just to stay in shape. Just nothing speed work, just out with my sister in the morning. So we would do that a few times a week. But no sports. I didn't do that in high school, and I didn't go to college. I was having babies. So I didn't have any collegiate background of running or sports either. So
what do you think got your dad running? You know, since it seems like he run a lot. I mean, and of course you're backing up off of prior to you, so I don't know how old your dad is, but, did he run a lot of marathons and so forth? I mean, what do you think installed in him?
He he started running to drop weight back in the 80s, and he fell in love with it as well. And he did do several marathons. I remember the first one that I saw him run, I was 6 years old, and I was just like blown away by how much pain he looked like he was in, and blown away that he paid to do this. He decided that that was what he was going to do on a Saturday. Um, and he loved it, even though he looked like he was miserable out there. It was like a misery we signed up for, a pain we signed up for. And he planted that in all of us as kids, like you get out and move your body. And so it was just kind of something we did. I was homeschooled, so it was part of my physical education was our morning run or sweat into the oldies, one or the other. We would always move our body. Instead of a chore, it was a lifestyle. It's always been a lifestyle for my dad too. He still keeps it up, and he's well into his 70s, running, not marathons anymore, but still running that same course that he used to do when I was a
That's
kid.
so
So
cool.
yeah.
What does he think when you tell him you ran 100 miles now?
Oh my gosh. Like he is this like such a huge, like, he gets so emotional, he gets so excited, and there's a lot, he's got a lot of kids, there's a lot in my family. I'm number 10 of 11, and so, or number 9 of 11, and but there's just that little special connection that him and I have of our passion for running, and he comes to as many races as he can to see me finish. He actually helped sponsor me as, like, when I was dirt poor, I didn't know how to pay for these races. And he's like, this is something you could be amazing at, and help get me going in that. And so he's just been my biggest cheerleader besides my husband, just getting me going. And you could just see how proud he is, sending it to his friends, like, this is my daughter. They don't care. But he's like, it's my daughter, so it's really sweet to have that connection with him and to share that
Well,
passion.
I was going to say that's awesome that you both share that, because that's something that can never be taken away. And he
Exactly.
understands what you're doing and the suffering and the pain and how hard it is.
Yeah. There was a few years back, I was talking to him, having this conversation and being like, I remember this marathon, talking about his Swiss marathon. And I was like, do you still have that shirt by chance? Because he kept his first marathon shirt. Like, it was his prized possession. He didn't wear it. It was in the back of his closet, like, pressed and everything. He's like, I do. And I said, Dad, I don't want anything else when you pass away. But that one, I get that shirt. And he went out to his closet, and I get chills thinking about it. And he gave me his T-shirt, this extra large T-shirt that was cotton back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's yours. And I'm like, I'm crying. And it was just a silly little thing. But that same marathon I went and ran that year in his T-shirt, this oversized T-shirt, and I was able to win that marathon. That was one of the most special ones. He was there at the finish line, seeing me in this ginormous T-shirt. I had people yelling at me to get off the course because they didn't think I was an actual runner, because I wasn't in the right attire. But I was able to win it for my dad, and it was really special. So I've done that the last 3 years in a row, actually, in that T-shirt.
Wow,
That's so cool.
that's
It's
awesome.
a fun one.
Did he get upset that you raced in it?
What was that?
I said, did he get upset that you raced in it?
Oh, yes. He loved that. It's great.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about, so you started out with marathons, and then you moved into not ultra running, but you started doing swimming, biking, and running, correct?
Yeah.
So, well, how did that happen? Like, how did you get into that?
Well, it came from injury, actually. I was teaching a bazillion classes at the time, fitness classes at the gym, and then running. Everything was high impact, and I found myself sidelined out of injury. And I was like, man, I better start swimming. That's the only thing I can do right now. I can't walk. Both of my feet were totally messed up. And since I had already been cycling in classes, I decided to try a triathlon. Why not? And so I did a sprint in 2008, I think. It was my first, I still don't know how to swim, I'll be honest with you. But I loved it, but it was too short, way too short. went right to a half Ironman, still too short. And my dad actually surprised me and signed me up for my very first Ironman. So with
Yeah.
that one was caught me off guard because I'm like, Dad, you have to like train for this. Dad, you have to, so he's like, no, you got it. You're gonna get to Kona. I didn't get to Kona. Got it. But anyway, that was 2 months before an Ironman, and so he got me into that as well. Kind of nudged me into the whole Ironman world. So, but I was still grateful because I fell in love with that distance. That long time being out there, and being able to just feel like a different feel rather than like redlining so hard. It's like, hey, you gotta settle back, and you're able to chat with people, you're able to just like the crowd and stuff. And I love being out there for long periods of time anyway. So it was perfect fit for me.
Yeah, I did hear the story on one of your podcasts about you showed up with a mountain bike.
Yeah, the Huffy.
Oh yes, on my first triathlon. That's right. It was a mountain bike. Mountain bike, and it was like, I don't understand why are these people passing me? What happened?
Yeah, you were just used to kind of like the spin bike, right?
Yeah, I taught plenty of cycling classes. I'll be fine. I'm in shape. No, I teach 7 classes a day sometimes. Oh, what a world of difference.
Did you get kind of hooked on the full Ironmans, or did you just kind of skip past those?
I loved the full Ironman distance. At the time, it was really with young kids. It wasn't like I could dive in and do them as much as I wanted. So when I first started in 2010 doing my first one, the next year I was able to do one. The next year after that, I was able to do one. It's just they were expensive, a lot of time. I had young kids, and I still wanted to have another baby. And so I actually, as much as I wanted to do them like every other month, I was only able to do them at first like once a year, to kind of get that fix and fill it in with other little mini races along the way. As much as as long as it was local, local events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's probably done wonders for you though, transitioning into ultra running like you have, because you had such an aerobic base built, like from all of that swimming, biking, and running.
Yeah. I feel
It's
like it just gave my body that balance, like, and staying injury free and keeping the excitement really of, okay, it's not another run today. Oh, I got to go ride my bike. It just kind of keeps that variety. For me personally, that works rather than just running. Even though running is my main, I love that so much. I like to still have a little bit of other things to continue to look forward to my run instead of getting sick of it and burnt out.
So what at what point between like the marathons and the Ironmans did you transit, or did you kind of start into the iFit world too? Or was that before this?
Yeah, I actually started as an iFit trainer about 8 years ago. I had just I was just racing professionally as a triathlete for maybe a year or two, and they called me, and I almost hung up on them because they thought it was a prank phone call. Because the way it was, they're like, "Hey, we've been watching your Instagram stories. You would be a great iFit trainer." I was like, "What? You're calling me for my Instagram stories?" Like, yeah, we want to send you to Switzerland in 2 months or in 2 weeks for 2 weeks. And I was like, whatever. You are not going to pay me to go ride my bike in the Swiss Alps. Click, so it was kind of caught me off guard. Well, completely did caught me off guard. But I fell in love with that as well. It just gave me a better reach to athletes that, I'm used to being able to reach to the people in my community, which is amazing just at a local gym, but I'm able to share my passion worldwide, if they've got access to iFit or a Nordic Proform or Free Motion. And so it's been seriously still pinch myself. Was this really my job right now? I really got to go ride my bike and share my love for fitness with others, and they're going to pay me? They don't have to. But yeah, so I've been doing that for a while and just having so much fun with it. And it does help build my base as well.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
still getting that base every time I'm riding or running with them.
Did you take the Huffy with you?
I should have. I don't even know what happened to that puppy. I bet I like threw it off a cliff and was like, "Screw you! I never want to see you again. Get out of here."
You finished that
But I wish I had
won it
pictures.
off.
Yes. Oh, I don't even have pictures of that first race. Oh. Oh.
So, okay. So how did you transition into ultra running then?
Okay, so I had done like stuff on my own in the trails, like I do a lot of my training on the trails beforehand. A lot of people think my first 100 miler was my first time ever on trails. It was not. I've been doing years and years on trails. I'd hit 20, 30, even 50 miles before just the fun runs with my friends or whatever. And so it was there. I just hadn't really done events until I think I did a trail marathon in like 2011 and then an ultra. I can't even remember. It was a 50K, I think, or 50 miler. But I did my first 100 kind of last minute. And I think that's the one that threw a lot of people for a loop. Wait, like, who is this girl? She's a triathlete. She's supposed to like be on iFit like studio. She doesn't like come to the trails. Like nobody knows what I do for training and all that stuff. And so that was kind of a last minute thing during COVID. I was training really hard, racing professionally as a triathlete at the long course. And 2 weeks before my event, they canceled it because, COVID, and they need 3,000 athletes for an Ironman. But ultras, you only had what? 300 or 400, and we're kind of spread out. So they kept those going, and they were able to like still have these 100-mile events, these 50-mile events. And so about 2 weeks before the Bear 100, I was like, I wonder if they'd let me in, and they did. And so I found out about 10 days before that I was in. I was like, what do I have to lose? I've got the base. I haven't been on the trails for a second, but fitness is fitness. I'm going to feel pain regardless. We might as well see what I can do. And I was able to go out there and have such a great race. Like those uphills were amazing. That's what I trained on. The downhills kicked my butt, like, because I just hadn't done downhill. But I'd been teaching so many incline classes with iFit. I was like cruising up the hills, but those downhills, wow. Those gave me like humble pie for sure. So that was my first. So COVID opened my eyes.
You absolutely killed it, though. The Bear 100 miler, you were first place female. You were 11th overall, and your very first 100 miler, you're sub 24 on an actual hard trail ultra. That's impressive, Ashley. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I had no idea what to expect. I just knew I had the support of my friends and my husband out there, and that I just needed to put my head down and grit it through. So was really thrilled with that, and loved it. Just loved that. I mean, this was even longer than an Ironman. Are you kidding? Things just keep getting better. I had done a double Ironman before that, so I was experienced. Well, not experienced. I had done one. I had the experience of being out for 24 plus hours. So I think that helped as well.
Do you think up to that point that was probably the hardest thing you have done?
Oh, gosh, it was just different. I don't know, like if the double Ironman was harder at the time, actually, because I was alone. I was self-supported, and I think that was definitely harder for me than the 100-miler, even though it wasn't quite as technical and stuff. It was a very, very long time. So I felt like I was pretty prepared for Bear 100 in fitness-wise with the hills, just not the downhills. So, but you just roll those down, right?
How did you said you'd done the double Ironman before, but how did you manage your sleep during your first 100?
I didn't sleep on that one.
Okay.
There was no sleep. So I haven't had to deal with that yet. And so that's where I think Cocodona 250 is going to be very unique, because I have not slept in any of my races as of now. So
That's because you run most of them within the first day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So and Cocodona, I do need sleep. So that's going to be a tricky one, I think, for me.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, all of my events, I haven't had to take a break and sleep. So,
Did
yeah,
you
new element.
experience any stomach issues or anything in your first 100 miler, or did everything kind of work okay except for just the downhills?
My stomach was great in that one. I had zero GI issues. I didn't throw up at all. I felt really good. I didn't feel even I kind of had some hallucinations in my double ultra or Ironman. But I didn't have any of that in my 100 miler. So, but I also in the double Ironman, you can't have pacers. You can't have people out there. The Bear 100, I had people out there from 50 miles on, and like my friend come out and then my sister come out and crew and stuff. And so you can't have pacers in anything for triathlon related at all. It doesn't matter the distance, no pacers allowed. So
Yeah, that's
I
the
think
crazy thing about
that was
ultras. We don't
definitely,
really care. We like bring
yeah,
everybody.
Bring through
exactly.
for
It's a
'em.
big party, right?
Yeah,
So,
Absolutely.
if they want to suffer, bring them.
and then they're down for you. You want to sacrifice your weekend? Come on. So,
So
yeah.
how long did it take you to do the double Ironman?
I did it was 26 hours, I think.
Well, that's impressive
That's
too.
pretty good.
Wow.
So still not much
That
over that 24-hour mark. So I still
yeah.
like haven't had what I'm going to go into for Cocodona for sure.
So we did Vol State last year,
Mhm.
which is
Okay.
that race across Tennessee, the 314 miles.
Okay.
And that took us 6 days roughly. And we learned a lot about
A lot.
making yourself sleep. So, like it was,
Teach
I'm going to
me.
run 100 miles a day and then take a 2-hour nap and then I'm going to run. Nope, that did not work. So you're definitely in for, a new experience there, but everybody handles it differently, obviously,
Yes.
and you're pretty fast. So I think you'll be in good shape. You just have to figure out what the best point is for you. I was extremely, overconfident in my ability, and I did not execute that at all.
Oh,
So
shoot.
that's what happened.
That's I'm like,
I'm
do I
thinking,
just not have a plan and just go off a feel on that? Because I don't know what to plan for because I've never experienced it. So
yep,
educate me any way you can. I would appreciate it.
We didn't know where any of our aid stations were necessarily. So, it's kind of this odd thing of mapping it out where you'll have that kind of luxury,
Set,
but
yeah.
we all got moody. I mean, I think that's it, working through your emotions, at some point where you just don't know what to do, but not, and I've heard this in your other podcasts, just not quitting. That's
Yeah.
not even an option where you've said, they'll literally have to drag me off the course,
Yeah.
and if you can go into anything with that mentality, I think you're already there. I don't have a clue how to tell you to prepare for that other than it's going to be tough. And I don't even know how. That's going
And
to
that's
be,
why I signed up for it. That's why I want to do
right.
it. It's because it's going to
Yeah.
be so unique,
It's
so
something
tough,
different. It's that
and
different
it
feeling.
freaking scares the living daylights out of me. So,
Yes.
so I signed up.
you'll do great though.
Thank you.
And I would say this, like this was my biggest learning from Ball State. And like Mike said, Ball State's slightly different because there's no aid station. You're
Nope.
self-supported for
Yeah.
300 something miles. But
Wow.
but I would say if I had it to do over again, I would have targeted like 100 miles and then sleep for like 4 hours or 5 hours
Okay.
instead of what I was trying to do, which was run to 50 miles or wherever I could get at night and then just take a quick nap and then try to go again. By day 4, like I was the whiniest person. Day 3, really, I was the whiniest person out there. Me and Mike were just in the worst shape ever, but we slept for 8 hours and we ran the next 100 something miles in the next day and a half and finished the race.
Wow.
So it was about just getting that sleep. And that's where I would say, like,
Yeah.
if you feel comfortable with going 24 hours or whatever, that's something you'll kind of have to figure out is like, when do you want to sleep? We tried to sleep during the hottest part of the day.
Oh, yeah.
But it just wasn't enough. We didn't plan enough time. So I would say in this race, like just make sure wherever you do sleep, like you may only have to sleep once for that, like somewhere in the middle, or you may have to take a
Yeah.
couple. But that's the thing, is like you might just want to try to figure out what point can I get to. Like they probably have a map of sleep stations. Try to figure out what mileage you think you'd feel comfortable with to get a really good nap. But 2 hours was nowhere near enough for us after
No.
like 3 days.
I'm
We
sure
were
with
just,
that far of a distance. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. That's incredible. I'm
well,
gonna get there. I'll get there one day.
oh, you'll crush Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
I have no doubt.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of hooked. So
Well, once you get that one done, come out here and do Ball State.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've heard you say you love running in the heat.
I
This
kind
is
of like the heat. We get
this
this
is right here in
friends.
the middle of July.
East Coast races.
I haven't done very many out there.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
we're gonna have to get her out here.
Mhm.
I haven't
And
done
you
any trail actually out that way. I haven't done very many trails, so trail races. So,
So this one, they have the screwed and they have the crude version.
screwed
with
and
your-
crude.
Yeah. So with your experience at Badwater, if
Well,
you did the
if you know Lazarus Lake, then you know well enough that he's gonna name this stuff crazy. So
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
but if you did the crude version, you could have a van pretty much follow you just like you did at Badwater,
Okay.
and they actually get to help you. You can't get in the van, but they can follow you. If you do the
You can't
screwed
take your
version,
naps in the van.
no, that's what makes Ball State very hard. They can set you up a little tent or an easy up or whatever
But no.
outside. You just can't
caught
get a
outside,
vehicle.
but you can't get in.
Okay.
But you can walk into a Walmart.
You can walk through Walmart. You can get a hotel.
You can get a hotel or go to Walmart.
Yeah,
I can get in my van.
As long as
Jeez.
because you have to be self-supported.
I see. Okay. So that's the crude,
You know,
and then the
that's
screwed.
what's
What's
crazy.
that one?
All these races just have
You
so
get
many
nothing.
different.
The screwed is
You're on your own.
you're on your own.
You're on your own.
Completely on your own.
There's nobody can help.
And that's what all three of us done.
Yeah.
I
Sleep in
love it.
parking
And
lot.
I think that's what I would do.
Oh yeah,
It
there's
is,
more adventure to it.
And you know Bob
Exactly.
Hearn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he came out and he's crushed it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so great.
Yeah. The best feeling in the world is at 3 a.m. when you're out of food, and every gas station almost now closes, but since COVID,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's open at night.
Oh,
And you see a
Oh.
Waffle House. Nothing makes you happier than when you see a Waffle House light at like 3 a.m. You're like,
oh yeah.
that's an aid station.
The angels are singing. Everything's happening. Oh yeah. I could only imagine.
Well, let's jump back to you real quick. I wanna point out like that you immediately jumped in and did. So you did the Bear in September, but then you turn around in March and you must have loved the 100-miler because you've done another one that you also won, and you ran it 4 hours quicker than your previous one. So let's hear about the Antelope Island Buffalo Run. That's pretty impressive.
Antelope. Yeah, that was a while ago. I didn't realize it was that close after, but yeah, I did fall in love with the distance. I completely loved it. That one isn't quite as much, does not have quite as much vert, and so yes, it should be a faster course. And that was kind of a last minute thing too. That's kind of how I usually tick. I like to just be like, feel things out, feel my fitness out, and be ready for things and be able to jump into them. And it happened to be one of those that the start was at 10 a.m. And at the time I was teaching live classes at iFit, and we started those at 4 a.m. And so I needed
Wow.
to be there at 3 a.m., teach my classes. I had 3 classes, and then I had about an hour drive to get to Antelope Canyon. So I was able to, I'm like, this worked out perfect. Doesn't this sound like a great plan to my husband? And he's all,
You
Yeah,
did
yeah.
3 classes and then ran the 100-miler?
gotta push yourself, right? I'm like,
Won it.
Yep.
That's impressive. Was there any point in the race where you're like, oh, this was a bad idea? Or did it just...
well, every time I do it, I'm like, oh, Ashley, you've got issues, but I can't seem to get rid of me. I told you, I like I'm there every time wherever I go. Me and my 7 personalities. But yeah, so I woke up at 2 a.m. that morning to get to studio. Got to studio at 3, did my classes, and then started that race. And I'm like, I knew it wasn't as much climbing, so I knew it'd be a little bit faster than, well, thinking it would probably be faster than Bear. So it'd be about the same time being awake, right? That is the hardest part in my mind. And so that one felt really good. Good gut happening, kind of dialed things in with my gut for the most part on a lot of these races, until the nighttime happened and I put on my headlamp, and I was just like, it was a headlamp, so it kind of gave me that tunnel vision,
Yeah.
and my vision actually started to go, but I didn't know
Oh,
that
wow.
was kind of normal. There's nothing normal about your vision going, but the guy that
Yeah.
was facing me, he's like, "Oh, it's normal. You'll get it back when you wake up in the morning." Like, but I'm like, I felt like I was underwater. My left eye or one of off was completely black, and the other one was tunnel like underwater. I'm like, I can't see anything. So the last like 5 or 6 miles took me forever because I was just all over the
Oh,
place.
wow.
Have you guys ever experienced that?
Took her forever.
I could
18
not
hours.
Forever.
No, I was getting ready to
No,
say
you know what I mean, but like,
I've
You know,
never experienced that.
The only person other than you that I've heard that was Courtney. I think Courtney had that in one of her 100-milers where she went blind and somebody helped her down a rock thing and she busted her head or something.
yeah.
But
Oh,
I think
it's
y'all
trippy.
two y'all two are the only ones I've heard of that.
How many miles did you have left when that happened?
When it went like completely, like I couldn't see anything, I had like 6 or 7 miles. It started going about, gosh, close to dark. Like once it was dark, it was just fuzzy. And then completely, I was legit like holding on to my pacer, like, okay, where am I going? Where am I going? And the last 3 miles of that, luckily, is a dirt road, flat,
Mm.
nothing in the way. So he's like, just trust me. So just run and touch his elbow, like and just make sure I was like touching his elbow, make sure I'm in his line. So that was bizarre and it was kind of scary. And I was glad it
That
was
would-
him that was there because I had no idea that was a thing and that
I would've
your
been
vision would
terrified.
just go. Yeah, I'm like,
I wonder
there's
what-
nothing worth my vision. I don't
No.
need to cross the finish line. He's like, I'll come back tomorrow. You're good.
I wonder what causes that.
I don't know.
Well, I was reading a little bit about it and reading a little bit more about the headlamps and having that, like, it's so much stress on your eyes being so dark on the sides and then right here, the stress on the eyes. And then as your body is starting to get super tired, it's like you're not stopping with the legs. So we're going to pull the energy wherever we can. And your sight takes energy.
Wow.
And
One of
so
the
since
most
it's
important
so
things.
stressed, yeah. So that's why like it's better to use like a waist one that like opens
Yeah.
up more. These are
Mhm.
these are new things that I'm learning, you guys. You should be so impressed
You're
because I didn't
teaching
know
us
this
too.
stuff.
Like
Yeah.
I'm learning this as well. I've never even.
thought of this happening.
Yeah. If that happened to
Yeah.
me, like some of these East Coast trails, if you lose your sight, you're not
You're
finishing
done.
this
Oh,
race.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
so technical. Like I wouldn't even
Yeah.
risk it.
This one luckily wasn't super technical. There was some areas that I was like crawling, but it was very short in those areas. But some of those trails you just have to call it, I'm sure.
I bet you were kind of paranoid though the whole time. Like that was
Oh, yeah.
probably super stressful.
Absolutely. Like at the finish line, my husband came up and grabbed me. I'm like, I sure hope this is my man. Sure. Feels like him, it sounds like him, but man.
At least you had a good excuse.
Yeah.
He just laughed. He was like, oh gosh, you would.
So,
But-
so when you finally went to sleep and woke up, like it was just back.
It was kind of fuzzy the next day, but by the next evening, because I took a few naps during the day again, by the next evening, it was clear as can be. Just so bizarre, so
Has that-
crazy that can
Has
happen.
that ever
and
happened again?
no, it hasn't. Thank goodness. So
Yeah.
so glad.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, I didn't like that feeling, and
No,
Man,
that's
this-
something I definitely
no
don't really
finish line is worth my vision. I will
No.
take a lot of things before I quit, but like I want my vision.
At least
So-
it happened when you had a pacer.
Yes,
Man.
yes. I couldn't
would've been
imagine if
so
that
scary.
happened. Oh yeah, but it was slow. It like slowly happened. So I think if it did slowly start happening to somebody, and they run into an aid station, they'd be like, "Okay, I need somebody," or whatever.
I
But
just think
if
I
I
was
didn't have
going
a
nuts.
feature, I'd
'Cause
be
I've never heard
screwed.
of that.
Well, at least you had the luxury of being with someone that knew what was going on. Because I'd have been like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to call. We need to
We're
try.
done.
You're
We're
done.
done. We're done. Hey, we're calling the aid station. We're done. We're done
Don't
with
you
this.
talk to
there was
me that
something
way.
in
We're
the-
not done.
I'm pretty sure they put something in your tailwind.
Yep.
Oh, it's crazy. Craziest thing that ever happened to me. And luckily it hasn't happened since. So
Hmm.
so get those
That's
bright
scary.
bottom lights or, chest
Yep.
or
You know,
waist
Walt
lamps.
talks so, very highly of those.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Walt uses those quite a bit,
Yep.
I've noticed. So now we jump into another 100-miler, and congratulations on this one. First overall.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So the Pony Express Trail Run shaved another hour exactly off of your time. So you finished this one in 17 hours and 26 minutes. So
Okay.
I see a trend here. We're just getting faster and faster. The obsession is growing.
Yep.
That's
A little bit. But let me be honest, part of that trend isn't me getting faster. I'm doing easier trails. Okay, that one was like
No.
just light little rollers. It's like, whoop.
So if you just look on Ultrasign, nobody knows that.
Yeah, nobody needs to know.
How did it feel winning that race overall?
I was pretty shocked, but I was also like knew this wasn't a big race and there wasn't a ton of participants out there. And so at the same time it was like, oh my gosh, got it overall. But I'm like, okay, that isn't a huge one. So it's always exciting to win, but that's never why I'm there. I like to be out there and experience it and push myself. And, I was hoping to meet more athletes, and I was able to run with some of the athletes that were doing the 50. For 25 miles was the only time I had other people to run with. And so, yeah, that part was really fun. And then it just kind of was like, okay, let's just go 75 miles by myself.
That kind of happens when you do it in 17 hours, though. It's just the rest of us are in the back.
It's always fun to be able to be like, hey, I was able to, my body was able to do that. I always feel grateful and blessed.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you show up at these races, you want to meet some pretty amazing people. That's kind of why we do it. This community is just so cool. But when you win a race like that, and you do it the right way, and you're kind, and you treat people well, and you win a race outright, it makes you feel like the stuff you've done is paid off, and that
definitely,
you really feel like the work you've put in is paying off. Because you're right. I mean, the winning and all that, it doesn't really matter. The journey is what gets you there, but it is nice every now and then to have that reward for the journey. And I mean, you earned it, and you've earned it a couple of times. And I mean, everything I've seen from you in your races, and I saw when you were running the jackpot, you and Andy were just having a conversation talking about popsicles, and you were having fun, and that's really what it's about. Like you can still do great things and treat people good.
Yeah.
And I think you represent that really well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It is, it's part of just sharing the passion and just being kind to people. You have no idea what they're going through, why they're there, what their journey has been like. And if you can make just a small difference in somebody's day by cheering them on a little bit, telling them good job, or even smiling. And so I know people that have done that for me. And so I'm like, this is going to be how I race. I don't care how bad I'm hurting. This is how I'm going to be racing. And I will get people think you're not pushing hard enough. You're still smiling. I'm like, oh, the bigger the smile, the more pain we're in, But you just have to trick your mind sometimes, and then it helps others. It's a crazy, beautiful, both full circle. I'm helping them, and it's helping me. That's how it rolls. And so, stay kind, stay happy.
Well, and that's the thing is you're out there leading a race, and you're high-fiving the people that's going to be out there for 30 hours, and it might be their very first race. And you may be the single reason that they come back. And that's what's so awesome about this entire sport is people are just doing tremendous things. And you're exactly right. You have no idea what people are going through. This last race that we put on, in February, there was a lady that finished, and she was towards the back, but she crossed the line and we all hugged her, and she was just broke down crying. It was her longest distance she had ever ran. and she had just lost, like, she weighed 330 pounds. She didn't know if she said, this time a year ago, I didn't think I would ever run a race, more or less an ultra. And like, you just don't know what people have went through to get to where they're at. So don't ever, like, and that's what I love when I see your videos out there at races and stuff, and it may not even be you videoing it. Like, I think Andy took that video, but it was still like you were out there having fun, cheering people and, just doing whatever. And like I said, that's the thing that people remember. If you win a race and you win it the right way, they're going to remember you even more for that. They're like, man, she was awesome. She high-fived me every time she ran around me. That's what they're going to remember, and that's why they're going to come back. So I think you
could hope.
Well.
So thank you so much.
Well, I see the next race, and I'm pretty sure that all these hundreds that we're doing at this point is leading up to Badwater 135.
That's right. That's right.
So, I think in the middle of this, they increased the requirements on you. Wasn't it like 2 and then it went to 3?
It was 1. It was, okay, from David Goggins' book, it was 1. Unless I could change the rules.
The details.
No way.
Well, we got to hear about this because, like, at this point, you have every 100-miler you've done. You finished first place female. Your previous race that you just did before Badwater, you finished first overall. And now we step into Badwater, which is like one of the hardest races on the planet. So let's hear about this in your 24-hour finish.
I seriously have heard about Badwater, like, 10, 15 years ago from my sister. She was into the ultras before. She's the one that I ran the marathon with, my first marathon. And she's like, she knew my love of heat. I live in St. George, Utah, so we're in the desert. And she sees that, like, I'll go after like 2:00. It's 110 degrees, and that's when I choose to go get my run in. And people are like, you're crazy. I'm like, I just love it. It feels so good. Yeah, it's hard, but so when I heard about Badwater, I said, that's going to be my first. That's going to be my first ultra when I do that, when I retire from triathlon. But I wasn't planning on all the COVID stuff happening. But yeah, that's not how it is with Badwater. You can't just jump right in and have that be your first. And so I was so excited to just apply for it, but I honestly didn't think I would get in because I knew the Bear was a tougher race, but the other 2 100-milers that I did, they weren't. And on the site, it says not all hundreds are created equal. And I'm like, there's no chance I'm going to get in it, but you got to try. All they can do is say no, turn you down. And I think with my resume of being a professional triathlete, my double Ironman, and all that stuff, that they took those. I hate to say this, but easier 100s into the equation. Like, okay, like it's okay that they weren't his races or whatever. And so I was accepted and just thrilled and nervous beyond anything. I'd never gone that distance. I had no idea what it was like to run in that type of heat for that long of a period. At the time, I was living in Florida in 2022, and so I was grateful that it was going to be heat, but it's a different heat. It is humid heat. And I don't know if you've ever been out to like Fort Lauderdale area, Florida. What they call a hill there is an overpass. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So I was like, okay, how am I going to do this hill training? And okay, I've got the heat stuff. So I used my treadmill a ton for that race. I was teaching classes once again, but I'd also be in my garage with heaters blasting on me and just go for hours and hours. And I did a lot of my long runs broken. So if I had a 30-miler that I was planning on doing, I would do like 10, 10, 10. With like a good 4 hours in between. And I didn't do a lot of those. I think I did that like 2 or 3 times. I still did a ton of cycling. Even though I wasn't racing triathlon much at the time, still not actually, I still ride a lot. I feel like that saves my legs and has saved me from injury. I haven't been injured since my foot problems in 2008 from overuse. I've been injured from falling or something like that, but I feel like that saved me. So I did a lot of cycling every week instead of just focusing on miles. And so going into it, I felt like my fitness was really good. I felt like my heat training was really good, even though it was still a mystery on how this all worked and the crewing aspect. I haven't worked with that type of element of them just kind of like leapfrogging each other. I'm like, is that going to be annoying for me? Or sometimes you just kind of get in zone and I don't know. So, but my crew was fire. My crew was absolute, like, I just owe everything to them. They kept me cool. They kept track of every single calorie I intook. What was hard to keep track of was the amount of fluid I was intaking, because a lot of the time I would dump it still, and they used to always make sure I had some type of water with me, or they were behind me dumping water on me to keep me cool. So Badwaters is really unique in the kind of day it starts. It starts at 11 p.m. They've got 3 different stages. They have the slower athletes start, at 8, and then 9:30, and then 11 is how it works the first year. And so I started at 11 p.m. and that was weird because I can't sleep all day. I'm too freaking excited. They're like, take a nap. I'm like, yeah, that's happening. It's not happening. So that's already past my bedtime anyway. I like to go to bed early. So starting at 11 was a fun feeling, but also like, oh no, wait a second, they're throwing this out. And it was 118 degrees at 11 p.m. That first year.
Oh,
It just
wow. That's hot.
wild to feel that, but not have the sun. And so it was one of those feelings. I was so excited the entire time as we started running. I actually started running past this lady, and I was like, this is so great. I can't believe we're doing it, and that's how I like to, that's just me. Honestly, even if I'm tired, I try to keep that high energy. And she looks at me and she's like, you need to learn to channel your energy.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm going to channel my energy up here. Okay, we're going to, because there's some people that's too much, and I get it. I get it. But I was like, wow. But that's how I channel my energy. We all are going to channel it different. And that's what's beautiful about it. We just got to love that. And she knew it was my first time doing the race. And so she's like, oh, calm down, child. Calm down. But I tried to keep that same energy as much as I could throughout the entire event, and just was thriving off of my amazing crew that they didn't get any sleep either. They were out, just making sure, running back and forth. They've got a harder job than I do in certain elements, because nobody's dumping water on them. They're just running in the heat with me and sacrificing their time. So it's one of those things that's really, you find those special people that come out with you, and you can't break the bond like that after that many hours of grit and heat and pain and sweat. And so I'll be forever grateful for them to help me with that win. I think it was just over 24 hours in that one. It was like 24 something in the teens or something, but
Yeah,
ecstatic for
2409.
that time. What was that?
2409.
Oh, 2409. I thought it was in the teens. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, you killed it.
2409. All right. I can't, yeah.
Did you have any like lows during this race that they kind of had to try to pull you out of, or did you stay pretty upbeat the whole time?
I was able to stay pretty upbeat until that last climb I was really hurting pretty bad. I feel like I didn't have much stomach issues. I didn't feel like eating anything, but I didn't have, I wasn't throwing up or anything. Stayed really happy and positive, and at the end, once we started climbing, I started to feel really, really dizzy, and just kind of like, my husband could read it, and he's like, hey, you guys don't ask her to talk, just let her grit it out. And he even said to my sister, because she's like, she needs to slow down, she's getting really lightheaded. But my husband had this dialed in plan, little did I know, of that I could break the course record. So he had it mile by mile, going up this grade, all lined up, because he's like, you're close, and he told me that with 20 miles to go. I was like, no way, because that wasn't my goal, that wasn't where I was. He's like, you can get it. And so at 13 miles to the finish, he jumps out of the car and he's like, listen, if you can just dig a little bit deeper, just a little bit. He's like, I know you're hurting. I know this is hard, but if you can give it just a little bit more right now, you will break that record. And I seriously was like blown away. And I was like, kind of just trotting by him. And I was like, well, what do we have to lose? And he turns back to the car and was like, she's gonna go.
Yes,
And we all cheer. And I was like, okay, you know, bumping up that pace, even 30 seconds at that type of like energy, like my energy was just gone. But I was like, what do we have to lose? Let's go, you know? And he's like, okay, so for 13 miles, I said, don't give me 13 miles, give me the next mile. So that's when he broke it down into mile by mile. I knew I could do one more mile at X amount of pace. So he broke it down every single mile as we're climbing up to Whitney Portal. It's like, okay, this one you just need to hold a 14:30, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels so hard, you know. I was able to do it for that mile, and that's how my brain was able to capture like and be excited. It's like, I just have to do one more mile, just one more mile. Don't think about it as a half marathon. Don't think about it as being at mile 125. It's just you're in this mile that you're running or power hiking, because let's be honest, my run, I was probably walking faster if I would just power hike through it. And so when I get to the finish line and I see like them holding out the little banner, everyone gets a banner at Badwater or the tape at Badwater, whether you're first or last. And so I think that's really
cool.
special.
That is
Yeah,
good.
it's really fun. So you see them lining it up, and I see that finish line, and your whole crew can come with you as you go that last 50 meters or so. And my husband didn't know exactly if his clock was off or where we're at. So he's like, you're within a few minutes of that record, but I could be a few minutes off or a few minutes ahead. You know, he didn't know exactly. So I get to the finish line, and I'm looking at it, and I stop. I just stopped, and I was like, I wanted to take it in. And I just was like, oh my gosh. And you see it, like, there's a video of my husband being like, he didn't know. He's like, I know you're this close to my team. But I think that's when I was thinking the teens. I think the course record was 24:14 at the time or something like that. So okay, I was close. And he's like, but I just wanted to still take it in. I'm like, I did my dream race. This happened. We are able to do what we put our mind to if we can just like fight off those demons and keep pushing forward, break it up, however. And I've got this incredible crew that sacrificed 4 days of their life, and I wanted to take in the moment, but I'm like, right, you know. And then we found out that I was able to break the course record, and it was amazing. It was so much fun to have that from him and the team, and how excited they were for me to be there doing that. So yeah, that was my first Badwater, and I loved it. It was so hard, but I loved it.
I have to sit here and wonder, like, if your husband said to your sister, like, no, she can run harder. She can still see.
But he actually did. I didn't know he said this to her till after. He said, do not go out there and say anything about how she's feeling, everything you say is positive. Like, you're doing great, Ashley. Don't ask how you're doing. We know how she's doing. She's hurt. Like, and so he like gave her these strict things of what to say and what not to say. He said, if you say you can slow down, you know, you're a little dizzy. He said, you can't say that to her right now. And it was just exactly what I needed at those times. We've been married for almost 24 years now. He knows me, you know, just by the look on my face. If it's, you know, you give me hard love or you give me that, hey, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. So it was really nice to have him right there watching and able to tap into me and how I was feeling.
Do you know how long it had been since that record had been broken? I don't know that.
I do. I think it was 2019, the girl that came in and did the 24 something. It wasn't too long, but yeah. So I know it was in the later teens.
Well, that's impressive. I mean, the fact that you've won every 100-miler at this point that you've signed up for, 100+ miler, is just so impressive. I mean, that's like I'm just sitting here looking at your ultra sign up, and it's like first place, first place, first place, first place. And
But I haven't done very many. We know that's not going to last because there's going to be those times, and that's okay. I'm totally okay with that. So I'll hold on to that as long as I can.
I mean, it's just like it's a couple of things, but like the biggest thing is that like you're obviously putting in the work.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing is you're putting in the work, but also it's your joy. And when it's like that and it's your passion, it's hard to beat someone that's putting in that much work and that enjoys it that much. So I think it's just a testament of showing, you know, the work you put in. And honestly, I think your background of, you know, the Ironmans and everything have helped you. And obviously, I mean, you're an iFit coach too, so you're training quite a bit. But it's a testament to the work you put in. I mean, I see your videos. You're running on the treadmill or out on the trails all the time, and you're putting in the work. So, and I mean, just like we'll get to it here in a minute, but like Jackpot 100, I mean, that race right there alone, I mean, you ran a 14-hour 100-miler. I don't care if it's on a track, like 14 hours is fast, you know? And, I mean, you know, like I said, before we started the podcast, if you look at, ultrarunning.com right now, you are the top female for the fastest 100-mile time. That is, I mean, that's just impressive.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. That's exciting. I hadn't.
now you're going to have to like take a screenshot of that. So
I
it never
know.
goes away.
I'm gonna have to beat that. Yeah, it just has to.
Oh, there
I
we
need to
go.
break that 14.
Did you experience any like with Badwater? Did you experience anything with like you're having shoe problems or anything with the heat? Did you have any feet problems?
Oh my gosh, my feet were so happy. Like I mean, obviously there's the aches, the normal aches and pains, but I was wearing the Nike Alphafly, not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by Nike, but like they were so good. I feel like that mesh on them because I was just constantly drenching myself with water. So you can imagine like any other shoe could hold on to that and just like make blisters or whatever, but
Yeah.
it would just flip it right out. It would like I did change my shoes once in Badwater the first year, and then once the second year as well, just to feel fresh, warm sock or dry socks. But that lasted 2 seconds. But my feet were so good. In fact, somebody the next day at like the awards were like, "Are you sure you even ran? Like your feet look," as I was wearing sandals. I was like, they're great. I don't usually blister or anything like that, but with that much moisture in like sorry about the word if that bothers people
Nope,
in your
not at all.
like
You're an ultra runner. That word shouldn't bother you.
that's gonna cause blisters. But my feet were great. There was just like little rubbies, but nothing crazy bad. My feet both years
Yes.
were amazing.
I'm quite impressed that you ran that whole race in the Alpha Flies. That's pretty impressive.
So like they do, I could imagine them just falling apart with that temperature,
Really?
just falling apart.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
no.
the Alpha Flies are the ones that have the carbon plate in them. So
Yeah.
do you think that kind of helped with the heat on your feet? Maybe, I don't know.
You know, I think because it is higher too. The alpha flies, the vapors are quite as tight. The
Yeah.
alphas are a little higher as
Yeah.
well. And so all of that I think was awesome. Now, obviously, a carbon plate, you're not going super fast. So how much is that helping? But it still does help. It still is. There's still help in that, and they work so good on my foot. Like it's crazy how some people can't stand them. They hate them. My husband gets in them. He's like, no way. But for me, they're money for me. I absolutely love them. And
Well, you've got me
Just like in both
interested
years.
now because
What?
I said you've got me thinking now. I'm interested because I just got the New Balance Elite V4s, which is their super shoe, and
Okay.
I'm doing a 100-miler on the Virginia Creeper later this year. I might have to
Fun.
try those.
Well, we picked the
Good
wrong
try it.
shoes at Ball State.
Yeah, I might have to try those.
Give it a try. I mean, go out for some long runs and see how it is with it, you know?
Yeah,
And if it
I
doesn't
ran
work for you on race
my
day.
first marathon in them. That's the only reason I bought them. I skipped marathons. I was completely opposite from everybody else. I ran my first marathon like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, no way. I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Did you like
yeah,
it?
No,
Or was it too
Yeah,
short?
no, it was
Okay.
it was I'm more of like, put me in a 7 or 8 minute pace and let me run there. I'm not about running a 6 pace for 26 miles and just trying to hold on for dear life. So
Yeah,
I did my best.
I love it. That's all we can do. And it's good to experience it, right? Why not? You're
I
like,
figured I
hey,
would at
we
least
did
do
it.
one. As I ran by my girlfriend who was filming me, I said first and last. That was my exact words.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was funny because I wasn't looking forward to this race. I was actually more nervous for this race than I was Vol State or any race I've ever done. If anybody that saw me that morning, he ran it too. He saw, like, I was just nervous. Like, I was scared to
Really?
death because I wanted to do good. I
Yeah.
was trying to do a sub 3 hour and I ended up going a little bit above 3, but I'm
Amazing.
still happy with it.
That's incredible. You should be happy with it. That's awesome. So close to that 3 hour marker. I worked a
But I
lot of
also
years to get
decided
to
then
that
I would
time.
retire. That's a good spot to retire.
Oh, you're frozen. You guys
Uh-oh.
froze out for a second.
We good?
Are we back?
You're good. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I said I'm one and done. I'm retired now.
That's okay. Go back to go. You gotta find your passion and you just go with it. And yeah, try some other things here and there, but then dive right back into what you're passionate about.
Well, I'm sure someone at some point will convince me into doing another one because I did make a deal that the
Yeah,
other
you
guy
did.
that's retired, if he comes out of retirement, I'd run one with him. But I'm
There you
I'm not
go.
going to remind him of this anytime
I will.
soon.
I will remind Nick.
You've got some good friends next to you,
Yeah.
so
Well, I'm curious of what this next race is, and because I've saw it, and I just wonder if it's like a real last man standing event or if it's something else. But I see it; it's last one standing 10K ultramarathon. What is
okay.
that?
Okay, so this is I had no idea either. It is kind of like a last one standing, but they have an ending. So it's not like if you were, that's what they call it. So it's one of those that was just shortly after surgery, and I was like, I want to see how far I can push myself, and I was feeling good. And so every 90 minutes you do a 6 mile loop, and then, but they stop it after 24 hours. And so, you know, nobody can go past the 102-mile marker. And I didn't think I was not going to go that far. That was not in the plans because I was, I think, 5 weeks out of surgery on my foot.
Oh, wow.
So I was thrilled to be able to get, like, I think the ultra sign still says like 54, but I did get the 60 miles. They just didn't have that little thing, but I was thrilled with that, right, that short after surgery. So it's kind of a unique little thing on there, but I wasn't quite sure how it all worked until after. I was like, oh, well, I think that affected my score too, but which is fine. I don't care. Somebody brought it up to me. They're like, oh no, that brought down your score. I'm like, it's, my score's not going to stay at 100 forever because I want to do a lot of these, and I want to go out with friends, and I want to go out with, like, different, have my husband join me, or, my kids join me on different things. So that wasn't the goal, to keep it at 100, but that one was it was super fun, but that was different, having to stop. Like, you have to stop when you're done with that 6 miles and just kind of wait until the next one. And I'm like, I didn't love that part about it, but it threw in its own little unique flavor of, because I don't stop at my runs typically. Like, even at aid stations and stuff, I'm like, we're power walking through. I'll eat and power walk as we go, and as people are handing me things, and stop for a second to grab, like, whatever, but that's it. So this was like a 30-40 minutes sometimes of just waiting. And so, but it was really fun. We had a great time with a bunch of my friends out here in St. George. So yeah.
Well, I heard you say foot surgery. Did you hurt your foot in a race, or
I did. Well, it's kind of a race. It's something I can't talk about quite yet. But yeah, I did hurt myself on a nasty fall out of the country in
and it required
October.
surgery?
Yes, I completely tore my tendon.
Yes.
From actually, the doctor's like, we're gonna have to, like, sew it up like this much, and he got in there and he's like, we couldn't find your tendon anywhere. So we went from my big toe all the way up my shin to find my tendon, and had to put a cadaver tendon in my foot. So that happened the beginning of November, the surgery. So that was a wild one. That was not something I was expecting. But the fall, I slid down this hill, and, like, you see my heel right here, and my left leg out in front of me, just with a heavy pack on. And see, it got me pretty good. So
Well,
we'll find out what happened in
I
the
was gonna say I
spring.
can't wait to hear in the future when this gets released what happened. So or
In
what
the
race.
spring, soon enough.
All right, we're almost there.
All right, so now we're gonna step up to. I'm telling you, just looking at your results just amazes me because every race just gets faster. So across the years, 100 miler. Now, at this point, your best 100-mile time up to this point was 17 hours and 26 minutes, and that is the Pony Express. Oh, when we skipped Zon, geez, I went right over that one.
Well, just
Oh,
because
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Zon 123 hours.
So we flew into St. George when me and David went out there.
Oh, you did?
Yes. So,
All right.
Yeah, we ran
gotta come
Zon
back.
100 a few years ago.
well, I have to because I DNF'd out there on 50.
At Zion?
So, yes.
Yeah, you gotta come back then. Oh man, you'd have to come back and it's just gorgeous. I love it.
Oh, we had good. We got out there 2 days ahead of race, roughly 1 day, something like that. We had done a day in the park, and then just kind of prepped.
Was it like just mind-boggling how pretty? Oh my gosh.
Totally different from us.
We did not do anything good for our race. We hiked up to Angel's Landing.
Angels
we did
when
all.
I could get.
Yeah.
How do you not?
Yeah, right. I mean, by the time the
How
race
do you
started, I'm
not?
like, man, my legs hurt.
and we couldn't get into it, so we actually ran. We couldn't get on the tram, so we was like, whatever. I
We had
guess
to
we'll just run
in
to the park
and out.
So we run
Oh
5
my
to 7 miles
gosh.
in and then 5 to 7 out. We just couldn't
didn't
get on the
care.
trolley.
We were having fun.
I remember seeing
And
these
that's what you
pictures.
gotta do those. You gotta have those those runcations that you're running but you're still exploring and having those Angel's
we had a
Landing.
whole
Can't
list
add
of
about
ways
that.
done that day. Yeah, we did not
I
do
love
ourselves any
it.
favor.
I love it.
But across the years, is that a road race? Or is that a trail?
It's road and dirt. It's half and half, but it's flat. Super flat.
Well,
So, but it's loops. I can't remember how many loops
14
it is.
hours and 37 minutes. First place overall, first place female, obviously. So, yeah, let's hear about this one a little bit. I've never even heard of this race, so.
Yeah, I hadn't either until a couple weeks before. So I was like, well, man, I did the 60 and yeah, it was only 2 or 3 weeks after that 60 mile, but there was something that had I could just feel my foot feeling so strong in that I'm like, I'll be fine doing 100 at this point. And so I just kind of thought that other race was more of a warm up for this one, in my mind, the way I like to mess with things. And so I went into that one knowing it was loops, and a lot of them, I think every loop is a 1.4 miles around, and then every 4 hours you switch directions. And so I'm like, what do we have going on New Year's Eve? My husband was ecstatic. Ecstatic.
Oh, I
To be
bet.
like, yeah, sure. New Year's Eve. No, he's so great. I joke with him. He's so great about it. Loves to support me, but there are times I do feel bad that I'm like, I'm something this weekend. He just still rolls his eyes now. Okay. And so that one was just kind of playing around because I really wanted to do the solstice 24-hour race, the track race. So that had been in my head, but then there'd been that surgery and then that little special activity that I'm not allowed to talk about quite yet that took place for about 6 weeks. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. But let's see what the loops thing is all about, because is that going to be super boring? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to love it? It's something I want to look into for 2025, really. I loved it. Oh my gosh, you get to see everybody the whole time. Going one way or another, or passing through, or they're passing you, and all different events are happening. And so we get fresh legs in, we get the same cheerleaders every mile and a half. And so there was just so much energy that I was just high-fiving, and I'm getting to know everybody's story as much as I could. And I just had a blast. And that's why I decided to sign up for even the next race, was because that one was so much fun. This is even more loops, same distance, but more loops. I get to see more people. And so, yeah, being able to finish that one before the end of the year was really fun. I was able to finish it before midnight was the goal. So I finished about 20 minutes before midnight, and
And still
slept
got to
all
see the
New Year's
ball
Day.
drop.
Yeah. Yep. That was the goal. So yeah,
But-
it was a great time out there. I would highly recommend that event. If people think like, oh, it's not for me, I like the adventure, but I don't know. For me, I like both. I just like it all. I want a piece of everything. Slice of all the pies.
I love loop courses because you don't have to take anything with you.
Right?
That's the best thing. Like, you get to see
Hands-free.
people, you get to smile and talk to
Yes.
people, and you don't have to carry anything other than a water bottle if you want it.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I loved it.
In a point-to-point race, if you're running fast, you're just by yourself.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
the whole time.
Even if you're not fast, you still
Which there
get
are
better.
times like that that's really great. Like you just get in your head or whatever, and you got to fight those demons. But this is like there was no demons even really, because you like they'd kind of creep in, and then you'd see somebody and they'd knock right out. And so yeah, I thought it was so much fun, such a party. So
Enough of
next New Year's Eve, baby, we've got a date.
Are you wanting to do Desert Solstice? I heard you say that.
I think I will this year in December. Yeah, the 24th.
Well, if you do, I'll be there. I'm going to be crewing one of my friends, so
Okay.
he's going to try to see how many miles he can run in 24 hours.
Yeah, that's the goal. I want to see what I can do. Might as well. But a track. Whew.
Yeah.
But you'll be there cheering the whole 24 hours, right? No
yeah.
downtime. Okay.
He's
Somebody's
pretty
got
good at
crew
that.
you.
Oh, I'm
No, he's done it before.
Yeah, he's
I was
good.
gonna say,
He got me and Matt before.
I had to crew both of these guys on a track race at the same time. So
So you guys have done the loop stuff. So you know
Yes,
how
yes.
amazing it is.
It's called the
Yes!
stinger over here.
Yeah, our
I'm
stinger
talking
is
to my people.
the energy is not as
You was talking to your people because we ain't doing that again.
well, and what's funny is like we put on races and we have a couple that are loop
Yeah.
courses. They're like 3-mile loop courses or 5-mile loop courses, but they're on the trail.
Okay.
And they're just so much fun. Like all loop courses, even the track. Like the track eventually just wears you down.
it does.
Because it's just like that same constant lean. Even though you rotate every 4 hours, like you start to feel that by the end of the night.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem is like when you're on a track, you're always leaning, just a little bit, and you're always that one knee. So the rotating helps,
Oh.
but towards the end, the rotating doesn't help.
feeling
So
it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I would recommend like if you're gonna do it, like you need to like
Work on it.
experience that on the track
Yeah.
some.
Okay.
Like some
Thank
long
you.
runs. Because
I'll
I
take
did.
any of those tips and tricks, 'cause
Well, I mean,
another new
if
thing
you
for me
think
this
about it,
year.
like if you think about it, like when you're running the track, you're always going to turn to the left for the next 4 hours. You're always leaning a little bit to the left when so eventually your left side just starts hurting, and then you rotate and then you take that off, but it's just back and forth.
Back and forth for hours.
And if you don't get used to
24
that,
hours. Okay.
and Greg Armstrong actually is the one that gave me. He's ran for Team USA. He's the one that gave me that advice. He's like, you need to go practice for hours on the track, and I did, but I didn't start early enough. Ashley,
Yeah, we did.
How early should you? I need to take notes. Hold on.
I would do some long runs, like on some of your long runs on the weekends or something. Just go do them there. Do some track
Like
work there.
starting now?
I waited till like 2 months before the race, and it did
Okay.
not work.
Okay. Hey, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Like, yep. This is great advice. Thank you.
So would your goal be to try to like qualify for Team USA? 24 hour?
I would definitely like to see if I could get higher than 150 miles. Well, I just don't know.
I think for the
now the
female,
qualifications are lower.
well, I think for female qualifications, it's 135 miles, I believe, or 138, somewhere right in there.
They lowered it.
Did they?
they did, because last year they actually asked me to be on it last year, because they didn't have an alternate, and I was like, what, just as an alternate? And there was some issues and stuff, and like, she hasn't really done a 24-hour race, even though she has, but not like a sanction, which is totally fine. I completely gotta go by those rules. But so now I think they dropped it. I think it's 130 or 125.
Oh,
So
wow.
I definitely feel like I could,
Oh,
that my
yeah.
body's capable of that. Just hope you have a good day and good gut and happy legs to
Yeah, that's
carry you
true.
Well,
through.
I'll be there with
So
an air horn cheering you on, you and Chris.
I might slap you after, like,
You'll
a
want to.
1,000 loops later and be like, oh, stop the air horn. But it'd be fun. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, you
I
should. You
feel like
totally
I
should.
haven't. Yeah, you have to try and experience different things. I've had this like mindset, this passion for running, that I'd be crazy to not try these different
Yeah.
trails and events, and I can, so I'm gonna go for it.
That's awesome. You definitely should. Especially, I mean, you're on a roll this year already. Like, the next race we're getting ready to talk about is Jackpot Ultras, which is the one you just did in February. And it's a UASTF national championship, obviously sanctioned course. So you finished second overall, first female. Shocker.
Yeah.
Shocker. 14 hours and 4 minutes, which is, as of today, the fastest women's 100-mile time on ultra running. So
Wow.
congratulations
Yes.
on that too.
Thank you.
But man, I saw your videos, the ones that everybody was taking, and you were always smiling and you were having fun. So I would ask you, like, if there was any lows in this race, but I don't think you had any. So, tell us about your race though. Like, it looked like everything just kind of clicked for you in this race. You had a great race. That's a great time.
Thank you. Thank you. Matt was really on top of it. Like, I wasn't really trying to like go for a specific time at this event, but he's just like, let's see what you can do. And I actually happened to be pretty dang sick at the time, so in my head I was like, I think I can hit sub 14, but I was pretty sick that week building up, and even the night before I was crazy, like insane. My headache and this lingering cold was just killing me, and I was like, I don't think I should do it tomorrow. And Matt was like, what? He's like, like, coming from you must really not be feeling good. And I was like, I am just so dizzy. I can't, like, how am I stupid to toe the line? And he's like, since when does being stupid stop you? But just kind of laughing with me, like, and he's like, let's do this. Let's go. Because we live just an hour and a half away from Vegas. He's like, let's try it there and then see how you feel in the morning. And get there, and I slept the whole way there, and then I slept from I slept from 8 until 5 a.m. the next morning, just out completely. And I woke up and I was like, I'm good. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go. And he's like, okay, he's like, are you so glad? And I'm like, yep. And every once in a while I have to be like, you're right, honey. You are right, honey. Just give him just a little pat on the back. And he had like my nutrition just like so, like every single lap he was out there. I think I missed him on one lap. He was off chatting with somebody and he felt so bad. I'm like, babe, it was like 85 laps. It's okay if you miss a lap. And so just having that dialed in, I did have a little bit of gut issues like midway through the day. I had to stop like 5 times in 2 hours, like to go to the bathroom. I was like, for real? Come on. But I had also just been fighting this sickness. So I was super just grateful to be feeling as good as I was with how bad I was feeling the last 2 weeks before. And so once that kind of calmed down, I'm like, hey, just settle back into a slightly slower pace, lower your heart rate a little bit. And I was able to just maintain and hit that, 14, I was just barely over 14 hours, and I felt fabulous until the next day. It was crazy. It was crazy. I was so sick the day before, sign race day, and then the next day I was like out completely with my head, my nose, my everything was infected, my sinuses and everything. So I just it's amazing what the mind and body can do if you just kind of are like, no, we're going. So yeah, I was really, really grateful for that time with how I was feeling before.
Well, and I love that picture of you with the one that we used for the podcast with your buckles. I mean, I just think that's so cool. So cool.
Thank you.
Awesome
I love
picture.
that. Was a
You look
fun
like,
one.
I was gonna say, you just look like you were having fun the whole day. And,
I did.
Andy posts so much stuff that we saw, I could see you like every couple of hours because he was like always videoing something, and I would just see you go by,
You can't miss the peak. Yeah, and I was able to meet him there. I've never met him before. I was able to meet so many new friends at that race. And so yeah, I was glowing. Even when I had to run to the bathroom, I was just like, okay, it's just part of it. Sometimes you just pop out and let's keep going. Chipping away.
And that's good that like a lot of people let the stomach problems get them down, and you just seem like, it's just another thing. And that's really how you got to kind of treat it to get it out of your head.
Yeah. Cause I mean, we're all going to deal with that day one way or like it's coming our way. It's going to hit. If you continue to do what we do, we're going to have gut issue days. And we just hope on race day it's just going to be, I call it quiet bowels. I'm like, can I please help me have strong legs and quiet bowels, and sometimes the prayers are heard and other times it's like, just kidding. And it's just part of it.
I think that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Please, how you have fast legs and quiet bowels. Bud legs.
That's perfect.
I think that would sound really great in the ultra world. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
We just came up with a new one.
So, and it looks like you did a race just like 2 weeks after this. You did a 55K called Red Mountain.
Yeah.
First place female, 4 hours and 50 minutes. So is this a pretty mountainous trail?
This one it wasn't a ton of, I think there's 3,500 feet. It wasn't crazy. I was going out. I just need to get my feet used to the trails. I tell you what, I haven't been on them a lot because of so much road racing and all Badwater was road, so, but I've got a big one coming all on trails. So I just was like, it's in my backyard, jumped into it and stayed with my friend. So we were 1 and 2. It was really fun. We had an amazing time together.
Yeah, that's really cool. So last question, last race here we're going to talk about, and then we'll turn it over to Matt here in just a second. So we always ask the listeners for questions. So he'll
Great.
if he doesn't lose the list like he normally does, we'll
gotta scour the internet for them.
Come on, Matt.
They're everywhere.
But you're already signed up for Cocodona 250. We talked a little bit about it already, but is that your big race for this year, or do you have some other big races that you're wanting to do?
I've got some fun ones. I'm able to do the I don't know, I do want to break the world record for this particular one, but I don't think very many people have attempted the 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days at the end of the year.
Oh wow.
So that's in October. So that's the one that I'm really like, okay, let's go, because like marathons just like it holds a special place with my dad, and then I get to go around the world in 7 days and do that. And so I would love to break the world record on that one for female and get those times down, that average time down. So we'll see how that one goes. But besides that, it's Cocodona. It's all Cocodona. So like even last weekend, I just did a 100-miler on Saturday, and it was all just Cocodona training. Just, I don't care my time. I didn't care, but it was like an amazing race. It was on Antelope Canyon and just gorgeous. So much fun. So it's all about Cocodona until after May.
Well,
we'll focus on marathons.
After you finish Cocodona, we want to have you back on.
Yes, I would love it.
We would love that. We would like to hear about the training, about the race, and how it all went. And when you do the 7 continents, we'd love to have you back on to talk about that. But
perfect.
Just thinking about that, like not only the running, but the traveling is what's going to be so exhausting. Like that's going to be really hard. Like I've heard of people trying this and doing it. Not the world record. What is the world record? Like what is the
For a female, it's 3:25 average marathon.
Wow. That's fast.
So they take a mile and then just make one average.
What was that?
Okay. They take all of them and just make one average, and
Yes,
that's what it is.
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, like the one on
Which is
Antarctica,
going to get
who knows? It might be 5 hours.
that's going to get like it's going to get even worse though on like day 6, day
Yeah.
7. Like you're just going to be completely exhausted.
Yeah, so they we start on the Antarctica, like get that one done, and then we'll end in Miami. So we'll see how she goes. I'm like, this is a whole new game too. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have that goal in my head. I'm gonna fight for that time, and push myself, because if I don't, then you never know what you're capable of until I put those goals out there. And if it doesn't happen, at least I know I gave it a shot.
Yeah. I got a feeling if it doesn't happen, you're going to give it another shot. Yeah, you don't seem
hell
like
it.
your mentality is going to give up very easy. So that's how most of us are in this sport. So
Yeah,
You-
let's keeps bringing us back.
right, if you don't risk the risk of failure, you're never going to find out what you're capable of. So
Exactly.
I mean, you're pushing that bar all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, you gotta be okay failing, and I'm like, people just won't toe the line ever because they just are scared of that failure. And I'm like, you can be scared. It's okay. Just do it anyway.
Yeah, you're going to learn so much about yourself. That's the most
Yes,
important
definitely.
thing. Well, Ashley, while Matt's pulling up the questions, we have the same question that we have for every listener that we're going to start off with you while he pulls this list up. And it is,
Okay.
what is your why? Why do you run?
My why, oh gosh, there's so many different reasons at different times in my life, different phases in my life. Running has really actually saved me through a lot of hard times. Like as a teenager, I was really, I had a lot of depression issues, and it has helped build my confidence. It has helped build who I am today as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. I'm able to be that confident mother that my kids deserve. I'm able to be that confident wife that my husband deserves. Through running has given me life, as cheesy as that might sound, but it has saved me.
I love that.
That's awesome.
And you're probably passing off some of that same passion that your dad also passed off to you. Like they see the joy in what you're doing. At some point, if they're not already, they're going to become curious. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yep, we've got one that's already done a marathon, another one that's she's thinking about it, and so it's happening. And that's not. I don't need them to fall in love with my sport, but if they do, I'm not going to be mad about it. I need them to fall in love with their thing, So find their passion, and that's what I've taught my kids. Like, you find what's going to bring you joy, and you put your heart into it, and let the world know like that you're passionate about it, and be proud of it. And I see that in them in so many ways. So it's been quite a joy, and they love watching me. They're so cute. And so, except for my teenager, she's through the point that she's like embarrassed a little bit of me, but that'll pass. I went through that, but my 22-year-olds are now like, they're past that, so it'll come back, hopefully. But it's really fun. It's really cute to see how proud they are of their mom.
Well, and you're creating that curiosity, even if it's not running, you're creating that curiosity for them to find what they want to do. And whether that's running or something else, you're getting them outside. So kudos, Mom, like for doing that.
Thank
I heard
you.
like a real interesting statistic. I think it was yesterday or today, but it's like just camping alone since like I think it was like 2016 or 2017 is down 30%. Like that's just the statistic, like camping and just people getting outdoors, but camping alone was 30%. Other numbers were even more. And I was like,
wow,
that's crazy. And it was talking about like the younger generation just doesn't go outside as much.
Yeah.
They don't want to camp.
Yeah.
So kudos, Mom, for getting them out there.
Yes, they're wandering kids. Like they've lived all over the world. My older two, because that's how they were. That's all they know. So,
We've
I don't
all
like,
got
are you living in Costa Rica? Are you in Hawaii? I don't know. That.
we've all got young kids, and I think at some point, like even mine and David's are a little bit older than Matt, and that they followed it and done it for a little while with us, but I don't think we were concerned that they kept at it. They become who they were, but when they look at us over at the stands and think like that's hard, they're looking at a couple of rocks here, like you can do a lot harder. Our
Yeah.
compassion level is like we want to set that bar like you
Yeah.
can do more. Expect more of yourself. Expect it to be hard. So
Exactly. My son, not too long ago, a couple years ago, we had an Olympic athlete over at our house, and he's like, how many gold medals have you won to this Olympic athlete, in for rowing? And he's like, I've got 3, and he's like, my mom has way more than you. I was like, oh, honey, no. These are not like, he's just thinking these gold medals, and he was just like, it was just like, I was like, oh. Little does he, but it was so cute. He's like, Michael, you ain't got nothing on her. It was the cutest thing I'd ever seen, but he just laughed. I'm like, yeah, that's cute.
Speaking of the Olympic medals, didn't you qualify at the trials?
Oh, yeah, I went to the Olympic trials for marathon, yeah, in 2020.
What was your time there?
Oh, at the marathon itself, I did a 2:40:03. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was probably my best marathon. Like didn't have any downhill. I've done some faster marathons, but this was a hard course, so I was excited about that. 2:40. Couldn't shave those 3 seconds off. I tried, it just didn't happen. So
no, that's great.
that was a great
Amazing
event. It was
time.
really special to be there.
And that'd be awesome.
It was really fun.
Well, Matt, we're going to turn it over to you, sir.
All right, we got some questions here.
Be prepared. We never know what's going to be.
Yeah, see, people send them in, and I ask them. So,
Oh no!
this is how it goes.
Okay, I'm
what is your favorite food to eat during your run or a race?
Okay, if it's an ultra, like a slower pace ultras, like those faster ones, I can't have any food. I know I'm liquid, but oh my gosh, give me that grilled cheese. Are you kidding me? I want a grilled cheese, nice and warm at any time of the race. I don't care if I'm at mile 5 and I still have 95 to go. I will take that grilled cheese.
Well, she would
I
love
think I
our
had like
races.
12
We
this last
did a lot of
weekend.
those.
Yeah, that's so good.
She's eating that grilled cheese saying quiet bowels.
Quiet bowels.
I know. I'm like, but I can't stop. I don't understand why I've got bowel issues.
What is your favorite part of the iFit experience?
Hearing their stories, hearing back from these members that it's like I was a little bit of their reason of they loving fitness, falling in love with it. I want to hear how it's helped them. I want to hear all about their journey. So hearing back from them every time is always a reward. But if I can meet them in person, oh my gosh, that's even better.
Yeah, that would be good.
We got the sirens going back there. Sorry.
Necessarily coming over.
Oh, it's fine. We've heard worse on here. Don't worry about
Okay,
that.
Good. Who all are you sponsored by?
You know what? iFit has bought out all my sponsors. So iFit right now. Yeah. They wanted to be so loved. So we're going with that.
Rightfully so.
It felt right. It felt really right. Yeah. I've got little things, I've got codes here. I'd love just me. It's like but they're not like on my bib or my kit or anything. I'm all iFit with that. And so that's been exciting within the last couple weeks.
They saw your ultrasound up results too, so
yeah. Well, they just love that. Like I'm always getting selfies with these iFit members, and I'm not wearing iFit. They're like, "What the crap? Why are we not having our name on there?" So, starting next month, it's all iFit. So
that's really so cool! Well, congratulations!
That's awesome!
Congratulations!
Okay, is there a story behind your hair?
The hair. Oh my gosh! My twin daughters inspired me to do this. I have always had a little bit of pink in my hair for the last 15 years. Just I call it my little pinkaboo. And then my daughters went purple and teal, and I fell in love. And I'm like, I'm gonna try it. And I tried it, and it's been 8 years, and I have not gone back. So there's nothing really. And they're like, just go out there, mom, just try it. You always tell us to try new things. So now they push me to do new things, and now it just feels like it's natural.
Yeah, I don't think I would recognize you with any other color at this point.
I've
Right?
only noticed the hair. That's, I mean,
It's
It'd be
kind of like the
crazy.
staple. If you
Yeah,
if you walked in with like brown or blonde hair at the iFit studio, they'd be like,
who's this?
"Who's this?
You
Who's
got a
this?
new trainer?
Who's the new girl?"
for real. I should sometime just put on a wig and see. That's actually a great idea. And just see, like, even start it. I would start a workout like that,
Yep.
filming, and then take it off.
Oh,
And
that would be
you know,
awesome.
comedy, but what
Watch their faces.
That would be awesome.
brilliant.
What is your fastest marathon time?
My fastest is a 2:30.
Whoa.
Wow, that's fast. What course?
A very fast course. That's why I'm like, it was like fast. It was the Charleston. It has a very great job, and I couldn't walk for a week. I was more sore after that than I was after Badwater because it was that freaking downhill. But give me that 2:34. But I claim like my PR was that the 2:40:03 at the Olympic trials because that was a legit like great
Yeah.
rolling course.
Well, both times are awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Have you ever been injured and had to start over? And how did you do that? And how long did it take?
Well, I just had surgery recently. I've had, but I don't feel like I had to start over. I've had C-sections with my babies. I've had a lot of different things go on with my stomach that they've had to go in and do surgery and not be able to do anything for weeks on end. But for the most part, I will find a way to move still, whether that's through cycling because it's so low impact and I could keep me like moving is just part of who I am that I've never taken that as something like, okay, I will always find a way. Get in the water if I need to every day instead of running. I'm okay with that. But I will always find a way to move still. So I feel very blessed in that way. I suffered from adrenal fatigue before my fourth child, and that one, it was all swimming for months, and I was okay with it because I was still able to do that. You know,
Yeah.
it's just you find something, so you can still find something, and that's how I did.
Well, that definitely pays off, instead of just sitting around and not doing nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
some people, there's some surgeries or whatever that they
Yeah.
can't, and
Yeah.
I haven't, even though it's a C-section, I'm like, take me up, I can run.
Well, and adrenal fatigue, I mean, that can be pretty bad. I mean, that can make you just not want to do anything. So kudos
Yeah.
to you for pushing through that to find something to do, because I've seen people just completely just stop everything they're doing when that's happened.
Yeah, and I was lucky to catch it early, because I noticed like signs early, and luckily with my job being educated in fitness industry and fueling and all that stuff, I knew the signs. I knew what to look for, and so the sooner you catch something like that and not keep pushing through, the better, the faster it'll come back. There's some people that 6 months, a year later, and I was lucky enough to listen to my body enough, quick enough to only be out for a couple months.
Okay. So it says, how did the accusations of foul play in 2022 Badwater influence your decision to come back and destroy it in 2023?
Yeah, okay. So that I really don't feel like with that, I wanted to come back to Badwater 2023 without feeling like I needed to redeem myself. That I was like, I cannot go back there feeling that way, because then it's completely off of everything that I ever raced for. I raced for the passion, I raced for the love of it. And so I didn't know if I was going to do it. I waited until probably the last hour to invite this trip for it. So I'm like, am I really in a spot that I can go and rightfully be like, I am doing this pure out of the love of that particular course instead of what people are saying, like, oh, you need to go redeem yourself. I was like, no, I know what I did in 2022. I ran every inch of that course. I don't care what people are saying and, what their accusations are. And I feel like having that, going in it with that passion and that joy back and not feeling the need to redeem anything helped, in so many ways, push my body. And yes, there was different training. There was different things that I did last year to get a faster time, but I did not want it to be because other people thought that I needed to redeem it. So it did not influence it.
Well, the truth of the whole thing is like, if you're not doing something amazing, you're not going to create that situation for people to accuse you of cheating. So, I mean, it's the people that are pushing the bar and that are setting the limits and that are really trying. Because, I mean, let's be honest, if you're going to go after a goal, you have a huge risk of failure. So you're going into this knowing that and I say it all the time. My girlfriend, it drives her crazy because she's also a coach. But sometimes I say, show up or blow up. If you really want to try to do something amazing, and you either blow up or you do something amazing, and if you do something amazing, people don't accept that.
Yeah.
Some people are just not. They're going to try to break you down, and that just means that you've done something exceptional. That's all that means.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
You gotta let it go.
You have to. And there was that fear still of going into 2023 of blowing up and not having a great day, and just the ripples from the I told you so's. Like, I was like, I just didn't want my husband to have to go through that again, my team to have to go through that, myself, because it affected all of them. Like, they said I cheated, that means my husband was, my team was, and stuff. So I didn't want them to if I had a bad day. So there was that fear. I'm like, and that can happen. With any race, but especially in ultra, we can be in the best shape of our life, but one little thing goes off with our nutrition and we're running that bathroom faster than we're running forward to that finish line. And so that was my biggest fear going into 2023, is having a crazy awful day that they would get those bad effects again, because I didn't want them to go through that again. So,
well, congratulations, because that takes a lot of guts to even run like that, to risk that, and you have to be willing to give it all up to do that. So
thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, we got 2 more questions.
Oh, all right.
It says, where do you get your inspiration from? The naysayers or the people who believe in you?
Oh, 1,000% from the people that believe. I love getting the cheers. I love giving the cheers. I love it all. Those people that are the naysayers, there are some, of course, you're like, that's funny, but I'm all about the positive. I race with a positive energy, and that's how I fuel. So give me the positive people out there.
Perfect. All right, last question. Where do you see yourself in the future in running?
She sees herself at Cocodona 250 taking an 8-hour nap at mile 150.
And then
with a grilled cheese right off to the side, just like waiting for me to nibble on it. I feel like I'm still just touching the surface of what I'm capable of. I'm 42 years old, and I don't see myself slowing down anytime soon. I still want to take on so many different adventures. I don't see myself as being only an ultra runner ever. I know I'm going to dive back into Ironman. I know I'm going to hit marathons. I want a piece of all of that, because then I stay excited. I stay excited for the next race. Like, okay, I don't want to be that professional athlete that I hear all the time that's like, oh my gosh, once I retire, I'm never towing the line again. I want to stay engaged, involved in different things, track races, mountain races, all of the things just are going to keep me excited. And as long as I'm excited showing up for that race, I'm going to keep coming back. So I see myself at a lot of different types of events forever. Never am I ever just singled out to one solo thing. I don't want to be.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's your passion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
obvious
fun it
that
all.
you just love fitness, period. And
Yeah,
I was gonna say you've got a passion for it, and your dad probably has gave you some of that watching him. So
definitely.
it kind of comes full circle, and you're showing your kids that. So
Yeah.
That's the goal, definitely. So I'm gonna be a grandma here soon. So we're gonna show off that little grandbaby too. Like give
oh,
her that
nice.
little piece of fitness, So
I
it's
just was
just
having
to
one
keep
about
it
a month.
alive in the house.
My
What was that?
granddaughter's a month old, and it's just you can't explain it. So
Yes. Oh, that's what everyone tells me. So I'm like moving on to different things in my life.
yep.
And just gotta keep things exciting.
Oh yes, and you will.
I
That's
can
awesome that
I
you're in
can
grandpa.
see I can see Ashley doing a 100-mile race on a loop track course, pushing the stroller and still winning.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Like, hold on, the baby needs to eat. Hold on, just keep running forward. Yeah, yeah. You need to change your diaper. Okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
Challenge
This is not
accepted.
nope. This is my grilled cheese.
Don't you dare touch the grilled cheese.
Well, Ashley, this has been so much fun. Thank you for your time. Does anybody have any last questions?
Nope, that's all I got.
No, you're awesome. I hope somebody watches the video because your smile and everything it's just you're so upbeat. You love what you do, and you don't even have to try to show it. It radiates.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you can see it because that is how my heart is. It's just I love it.
Well, Ashley, do you have any questions for us?
Oh, you guys just send me any of your tips for these long events. I will appreciate all of that. So you guys have been incredible. Thank you so much. Time flew by. Oh my gosh.
I know I just saw it's an hour and 46 minutes, and I told you an hour. So
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
at least your battery didn't go dead. See.
I've got it plugged in.
Well, Ashley, if you don't care, hang on for just a second after we end the call. We'll talk for just a second.
Sure.
But thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys so much.